now I'm here. Okay, so thank you all so much for joining us here tonight. I feel so privileged to be here in this space with you all, to share in similar missions and to continue to create safe spaces and equality for everyone in the LGBTQ community, both young and not so young. It's been an interesting, I'm talking about me actually, it's been an interesting experience stepping into the world of activism and advocacy. I'm never sure what to expect when I enter into a conversation with someone about causes we're interested in. About a year and a half ago, I was speaking with an old colleague of mine, and we were sharing causes and communities we're passionate about. They listed one cause and community, a very meaningful one that I very much respect, and when I shared mine, it was about a list of like 4 or 5. My list went something like this: women and people of color, LGBTQ communities, Latinx communities, immigrants. This person said to me, you know, you should really try not to wear so many hats for so many communities. It could really dilute your message. Yeah. I wasn't really sure what to say. Wearing hats? Dilute my message? You mean my message of love, of equality for all? A message reminding people that inclusion in LGBTQ spaces doesn't just look like lots of different faces, but includes training every person in that organization to be culturally competent, because there's no one way to be LGBTQ? That message? For equal opportunity and pay for all, for equal access to education, housing, health care for all, that message? The truth is, I don't consider the work I do for the causes and communities I love an act of putting a hat on and then taking it off. In fact, these aren't hats at all. They're called intersectionalities. They are meaningful, complex, intersecting, and in many cases, marginalized and criminalized parts of my identity. They are not hats. I don't have the option to put them on or take them off, and I wouldn't want to, because they're all me. I was born this way. I was born this way. Woman and person of color, queer, bisexual, Latinx, Mexican, Irish, American, immigrant. And I am proud of every piece of my story that converges in the intersections that make me who I am. Like my dear friend Wilson Cruz, I refuse to leave any part of my identity at the threshold of any space I walk into ever again. My intersections have allowed me the privilege of navigating many spaces, conversations, communities, and terrains, and I could not be more grateful for or more proud of them. So thank you, Cyndi Lauper, and thank you, True Colors Fund, for giving me the opportunity this past year and a half to work together and learn from one another. Thank you for showing me that creating a world in which we can all be our truest selves is possible. Ending homelessness among our LGBTQ youth is possible. Thank you, True Colors Fund, for showing us that embracing our youth, allowing their voices to be heard, and empowering our LGBTQ youth to own their own complex narratives and all their intersectional glory is a huge part of what it means to create truly safe spaces. So thank you. I am so honored to introduce our first youth talk of the evening. Our first speaker is an incredible young woman who I met for the first time this past spring when we both participated in a panel discussion at an event co-hosted by my fellow steering committee member, Diane Reichenberger. Yes, hi Diane. There I learned about the great work that this young lady is doing as one of the many young leaders at the True Colors Fund works every day to elevate and whose voices we strive to amplify. She is a dedicated Black trans subject matter expert, a True Colors Fund 40 of the 40 honoree, and an executive member of the National Youth Forum on Homelessness, a group recently begun by the True Colors Fund in partnership with the National Alliance to End Homelessness to give young people with experiences of homelessness a voice in developing and advancing federal policies that directly affect them. In addition to her amazing work with the True Colors Fund, she is also currently serving as the Youth and Young Adult Specialist at the Coalition for the Homeless in Houston, Texas. Her chief aim is to better the narratives of the Black trans woman. And now, I would like for everyone to join me in giving a super warm welcome to the amazing Phoebe Van Cleef.
Fast forward to a few months later, and now I am one of the True Colors Fund's 2016 40 of the 40 honorees. You know,